What's up, my people? How you doing this evening? Hey, just wanted to come out here and throw a big shout out again. Just say hi to everybody. Hope everybody's doing good out there today. I got on Facebook the other day and said I was going to do a little something about political campaigns and some of the presidential stuff. To be honest with you, most of this stuff just makes me vomit. I mean, I think it's crazy. I think most of it's pretty pointless because of the fact that you control your own life. Some of you will agree or disagree with that, but I did want to bring up an interesting point today that I don't think I've heard a lot of people make, maybe ever, but it's kind of a quiet subject, or the elephant in the room, no pun intended to Republicans, I guess. The fact of the matter is I thought it was kind of interesting that there is a lot of people that actually run for the presidency of the United States that never really get an opportunity to do open forum debate, at least to my knowledge. And rather than me try to sound like that I know everything about this subject, this is more of a something I'm just throwing out there, more of if someone can enlighten me or educate me in a proper way. Without just getting on there and saying, I'm voting for this guy, or I'm voting for this guy, or, whatever, whatever your personal agenda is. I'm not looking for personal agendas. I'm actually looking for factual information. So for somebody that can kind of help me out with that, I truly appreciate it, because, I'm all about wanting to help people, and I just want to pass that information on to people. The unfortunate thing is, after discussing at some length with some people that were involved deep in the Democratic and the Republican National Party, nobody really wanted to give me a straight answer. So I'm hoping maybe somebody, as I continue my studies, that someone can give me a more straight answer on this, just so I can pass it out to other people. It's kind of funny. I pulled up a list of all the people that are running for the presidency of the United States, and I just kind of, in your mind real quick, does anybody, without looking, can they say how many people are running for president? 2012. All right, well, again, I was shocked. I didn't realize how many people actually ran for president. I'm going to read these names off. This is absolutely amazing. Gary Johnson, Stuart Alexander, Catherine Lane, Andy Martin, Jimmy McMillan, Ron Paul, Stephen Rawling, Matt Snyder, Virgil Goode, Merlin Miller, Tom Hoefling, Rocky Anderson, Tom Stevens, Peta Lindsay, Roseanne Barr, yeah, from the show Roseanne. She's actually, I mean, you can look at it, she's going to be on the ballot. Lowell Fuller, Andre Barnett, Jerome White, James Harris, and then there's actually 11 others who have ballot status in at least, a state or two, in the union. So I find that amazing that, you got what, like 5, 10, 15, 19 and 11, you got 30 people that are running for president besides basically what they're showing you out there. And I just find that absolutely amazing that I'm willing to bet, because I didn't know, I'm willing to bet that 99% of people out there had no idea that there was that many people ran for president. And maybe some of you don't care. Fine, whatever. But what I'd like you to notice is some of those people are Republicans. Some are Democrats, some are in their private parties, and they're controlled special interest groups, whatever the case may be. Do you find it kind of interesting that it always ends up coming down to Democrats and Republicans? I didn't know if perhaps did anybody ever notice that. And I'm not going to sit and bash one over the other. You got some people's like, I vote all the way one way, or I vote all the way the other way. Well, people can go all the far left or right they want. I go forward. That to me makes more sense, because if you go left or right, you just run off the road, right? But I found this just to be fantastic, that there's this many people running for president, and I'll bet most of you hadn't heard any of their names except for, well, Roseanne, well, she's an actress, and a lot of people's heard Ron Paul's name and maybe Gary Johnson, but I don't think most people know anybody's name that's on this list, because, I sure as hell didn't. I didn't have no idea who these people were. So, the fantastic thing about this is then when you go to a debate, and everybody was real big on, I'm going to watch the debate, I'm going to watch the debate, I'm going to watch the debate. Didn't you find it interesting that I named off 30 names besides the 2 people who are put in front of you, but yet there was only 2 people that debated against each other. So I'm wondering, where are some or more of these other individuals, and where's that opportunity given to those individuals to speak? Well, what I come to find out is there's a thing called the Commission on Presidential Debates. I could be a little bit wrong on my facts, so don't mind me, but it was like back in 1988 or something like that when George H.W. Bush was elected that year. That was, I think, either the last year or they were withdrawn shortly after. The League of Women Voters used to govern the debate on that. And they dropped out because they didn't think it was real fair that a third or fourth party or somebody wasn't allowed to come in as a panel discussion and view, post their views as to what they thought was the best thing for this country. And what I find real interesting, and okay, and there's my disclaimer for it. I understand that Mitt Romney and Barack Obama are millionaires and they have tons of money. And then they also, so when you've got that kind of money, you can tend to, push your agenda further forward. So, they're going to get more attention. And I understand that it's a big difference if you got $20 million to spend on a campaign, or if you have $2 million or $200,000 to spend on a campaign. I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about a forum for debate. I'm talking about a free opportunity to tell the world why you're the best person for a job or what kind of ideas you have. But here's the interesting things that I've found out so far, and I'm just, again, hoping that someone can shed some more light on it, because I don't know everything about it, everything, and I just thought, maybe someone could shed some more light on this, without it being just a bunch of BS jargon, but actually some facts that can help me back this up, because I'm interested. I think this is cool, and it's the only thing that interests me really about politics, but I'm not going to get too much into my personal views there. After the League of Women Voters decided to step back from controlling the presidential debates, the Republican and Democratic parties, despite how much they'd like to smack each other around and call themselves, basically mortal enemies, I think it's kind of funny that they come together on a common point, as there's a thing called a Commission on Presidential Debates, of the CPD. It's a non-profit corporation that was controlled and started by the Democratic and Republican national parties. Now, isn't that funny? They can't disagree on anything else, but they can certainly disagree, or they can certainly agree on putting this together. Now, that sounds kind of funny. It's controlled only by those two parties. And don't you kind of find it funny that it's only those two parties that get to debate every time, and you never see anybody else and any other interest groups? Now, some of the names I mentioned on this list I wrote down here are people who are Republicans and Democrats as well. Now, they may not have won the nomination, but nonetheless, they're on the ballot. Okay? Now, and I understand that there's primaries that people vote on. But here's the thing I want to rewind to when it comes back to the primaries and how that all works out as far as this goes. Now, people put Mitt Romney in his spot in the Republican National Party, and they put Barack Obama, which obviously he can run for re-election, I guess that's his right, and whatever, as well. Now, what I find funny is, why is it always just the two people from the two parties that always just seem to come back in to the picture, and it's been that way for years and years and years? Do you think maybe it's because that they find a way to influence the media dramatizes it, they sensationalize it as they do everything else, and they want to put certain people in there that they believe are appropriate for what their personal agendas are, or what they want. And I'm kind of rambling a bit, but I'm just real confused on it. I really hope that somebody can shed some light on this for me. As part of the Commission of Presidential Debates, they clearly state that if a third party wants to participate in a national debate, that they must have 15% support across 5 national polls. Now, if you have $20 million to campaign, and you've got lobbyists and special interest groups, do you think it's just possible that you can get your name out just enough that it makes them forget about the other guy? and that maybe just that because you have that much money, does that really make you the smartest guy or the best guy for the job? But it's real easy when you got some additional control to kind of get your face in and stick it in where you want it. Now, I'm not saying all these people deserve to debate. I'm not saying they do or they don't. I know I would certainly be more aggressive if I was running, and I would be blistering every second and third market that I could to get my message out. And apparently, maybe some of these people aren't trying hard enough. I mean, I don't know. But do you think just perhaps that the demands of these two campaign organizations, the Democrats and the Republican national parties, do you think it's just possible that they're potentially perpetrating fraud on American voters? It's kind of like buying your way into heaven, or it's kind of like, if you want to liken it to professional wrestling, it's kind of like you always get the two biggest dudes in there, and it doesn't matter what anybody else wants. They're going to give you, like if it would have been the 80s, Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair or whatever like that. And it doesn't matter if you put 30 men in a battle royal, them two are going to gang up on everybody and throw them all out so that they can fight it out amongst each other at the end. So I'm looking for some clarity on this. I think it's funny, and I just want to know why. And maybe it's the candidate's fault. Maybe it's a perpetration by the Democrats and Republicans because they don't want anybody else to get in and say what they want to say because, oh my God, it might hurt one of their personal private agendas. It may just not be best for the country. It may just not be best for what they want. It just seems pretty asinine to me that that it works that way. But of course, as many of you are much more intelligent than some may want to give you credit for or believe. I think you can pick up on that yourself, that things aren't exactly the way they maybe always should be. And let's face it, is our government really looking out for us? Are they really looking out for us? Everybody says this is going to be the campaign that's going to change. This is the one. This is the one. I'm not that old, but I've been alive for long enough to know that I've seen enough of these things, and every time it's always the one that's going to change everything, and this is the make or break point. We're either going to rise up into the sky or we're going to dive down because this guy's going to run us in the ground and this guy's going to take us to new heights. And you always hear all this crap, but what I find nonetheless is it just becomes more perverted and disgusting every time. And the most interesting part about that is how people can still continue to say that this is the time. This is the time that this guy's going to make it better, or this guy is going to drive it in the ground. Has it really got that much better since the last, 3 or 4 guys has said the same thing and how they're going to fix everything, and it just never works? Now, don't take that the wrong way. That doesn't mean I'm saying Obama screwed everything up. I'm not saying Bush screwed everything up. I'm just saying I think it's a big succession of jackasses that just screwed the whole thing up collectively. Because I think, pretty much if, and I said I wasn't going to make this personal, but I guess I might as well, I think it's all kind of a joke. And I think it's funny that they'll get this Democrat and Republican thing going, and basically they're laughing at all of us. We're all funny people because they did exactly what they set out to do, and that was eliminate all the third-party people, keep just the 2 of them in there, and then what do? They tell you to pick sides, and what do? They get us, the American people, fighting against each other, which keeps the concentration off what's actually really happening out there. Is it just possible that they know something that you don't know? I mean, think about that. Who really wins in the end anyways? Do you really think that either one of these guys getting elected is going to make a difference in your life? Well, I understand there's special interest things, that it could affect Medicare, and it could affect retirements, and it could affect Social Security, and abortion, and all these things that we either hold dear to our heart or hate or couldn't care less about. But the fact of the matter is this: they're going to get you fighting on all these points because, I guess what, everybody's got an opinion, and everybody's going to make a choice or whatever they want to say or whatever they want to do. But here's the fact of the matter, man. Here's the fact of the matter. People are always going to think what they want to think, and they're going to do what they want to do. And you know who determines your success? It sure as hell ain't none of those two guys that they're making a big deal about that you're going to check a little box for on election day. That ain't what's going to cut it, man. You know who's going to get you where you want to go? You are going to get you where you want to go. Because, yeah, I know they can make it harder on you in some ways or easier on you in others. But you know what? I ain't waiting on either one of those ass clowns to make my life great. I do that on my own. And you know what? Everybody's like, oh, you'll be sorry. No, I'm not sorry. And I won't be sorry because I personally don't think either one of them have anything to offer me. Are either one of them going to put the paycheck in your pocket next week? Or either one of them going to make sure that your kids are fed? Or either one of them going to make sure that you got heat in your house, or that you can read your son or daughter a book before they go to bed? Is any of them going to wipe your parents' or grandparents' butt at the nursing home when things get hard? Is any of them going to spoon feed their child when they can't swallow? And everybody's like, how do you know this, Sykes? And I say, because it's been a part of my life. And ain't not a one of those asses ever been there to do anything for me. So now they want me to stick a sign in their yard to support them. How about you stick my sign in your yard, Mr. Obama or Mr. Romney? Or Mr. or Mrs. whoever else is on this list? How about you do that for me? How about you stick a sign in your yard that says, you know, what I want? Or what the next door neighbor wants? Or what you want? You know, we could go on this and on and on and on and all day. And I kind of got off on a tangent, but I guess the point I want to make is just, you know, look this up. You know, look this stuff up about, you know, the Commission on Presidential Debates, all these parties. Someone give me, you know, a non-objective answer. I just like to know why it comes down to two guys, and don't tell me campaign money or primaries, because these people are still going to be on the ballot that you look at on election day. Okay? These people are going to be on it, and you can vote for them. Now, agreeably, I'm not stupid enough to believe that if you do vote for some of them, it's just going to swing vote to one of the other guys, and it's just going to screw one of the other ones over. But the fact of the matter is, do they care about you? Are they really going to do something precious and special for you? Are they really going to hold your hand when you can't pay your mortgage and you lose your house? Because if anybody's going to fix this, it would have already been fixed. It wouldn't be a problem anymore. And I understand it's not just a president. This boils down to congressmen and senators and Fifth Ward councils and you know, and sheriffs and every other thing that you can think of, down to your, you know, your county commissioner or whatever the case may be. You know, yeah, some of these people are good folks. I'm not saying they're bad folks. But I'm just saying, just something to think about. It's something to consider. So, two parts to this is I'd like to get some feedback on this, and if you say, hey, Sykes, I think you're a douche, well then, you know, great. Let me know I'm a douche. I really don't care. That's fine. You know, everybody else is allowed to state their opinion. So is this guy, right? Okay. But no, really, man, I want some teamwork on this. I want some of my people out there to tell me what they know about this Commission on Presidential Debates and all these candidates. And I would also like some good information on, you know, what you think, you know, about all the rest of it. I mean, personally, I think everybody's about sick of it. I think everybody's going to be glad when it's over. But it's just something to think about. Are people really getting the fair shake that they think they are? Or is these presidential debates in this election nothing more than, you know, tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw, WWE style, Vince McMahon, brother? What's the difference? It's a dog and pony show. It's all entertainment, folks. I'd like to think it's going to make a difference. But you remember this video, and if this earth isn't burning to flames within the next 4 years, you come back and let me know if I was right or wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong, and I'm man enough to own that if I am. I hope this has been helpful. I want some feedback, my peoples. I love you. Sycko out.
Wow! Second lady, I'm a 10-time kind of green.